guys, this is Blake Jennings, B&K Sports Lounge, always giving you the latest and best football news, opinions around. So, today I'm going to give you my top 5 defensive linemen. This list was pretty hard to come up with. One of the more controversial lists out there as far as top 5 position. I'm going to do interior defensive linemen and defensive ends, just defensive line in general. This is my top 5 list, and the hardest part about this list was trying to figure out who really deserves to be in the top 5 and then who I wanted to be in the top 5. So I had to put away my likes and who I root for and actually go with my top 5 just overall defensive linemen. Let's go ahead and get it started. At number 5, Julius Peppers, Chicago Bears. Look, last year he had 11 sacks. Of course, it wasn't that Jared Allen stat of 22, but physically, I still think that Julius Peppers is one of the more athletic, if not the most athletic, defensive linemen in all of football. I know Jason Pierre-Paul is just a straight animal. So, maybe Julius Peppers has lost that, but I still like Julius Peppers at number 5. He's still very athletic. Going into the 2012-2013 season, I still look for Julius Peppers to get it done. Number 4, you talk about a guy whose motor, who is just constantly running 24/7, nonstop, and he is so strong. I'm talking Justin Smith of the San Francisco 49ers. And really, you think about the 49ers defensive line, that's kind of scary because you've got both the Smiths really up and coming. Well, Justin Smith's been in the league for a while now, but Aldon Smith last year, I believe he was a top 5 defensive lineman in sacks. Don't quote me. That's just off the top of my head. But Justin Smith, man, he's an animal. He's so strong, he can overpower almost anybody. And Justin Smith, he is just a complete beast. I like him, and I love the way he plays football. You're talking about a guy who leaves it all on the football field. I think Justin Smith truly defines that. Number 3, I said his name earlier, Jason Pierre-Paul, New York Giants. He led the league in tackles last year with 86 combined tackles. And his athleticism, he is just a beast. I've seen him chase down the Michael Vicks or even receivers. It's just insane. I really like Jason Pierre-Paul, his athleticism, his speed, his size. My only question mark with Jason Pierre-Paul, this is why he's where he is on my list, his technique. His technique for a defensive lineman can be suspect at times. But even though his technique ain't quite there, still his athleticism, who he is, the stats he puts up, the numbers, that's what landed him at number 3. But still, to me, coming from my perspective, I look at what's done on the football field. I look at stats too, but stats don't really mean as much to me as what I see when I'm watching a game. And his technique, to me, to be that number 1 spot, it's got to improve. But still, he's still a complete beast, and he's still my number 3. He's a top 5, cream of the crop defensive lineman. Number 2, the most complete defensive lineman on this list, the most complete defensive lineman in the game, Haloti Ngata, Baltimore Ravens. He has it all. He has the size, strength, and speed. And he not only for an interior defensive lineman does he get, I think he got like 5-6 sacks last year, which is not bad, but he can also stop the run. So Haloti Ngata, he in the top 100 players this past year, he was the best rated defensive lineman by his peers, so we can't take that away from him. He's just a complete defensive lineman, and he honestly, I know you've got the Ray Lewises and the Terrell Suggs, but he honestly probably is the engine of that defense. So Haloti Ngata at number 2. And number 1, can anyone really argue this? 22 sacks. Dang near broke the record last year. Jared Allen, and what impresses me about Jared Allen, he's been doing this year in and year out. year in and year out, his name is at the top of the sack list. And if he's not at the top, and he's in conversation for it. Jared Allen, he is just a sacking monster. Green Bay Packers, we got to play him twice a year. It's just not fun. And we also got Julius Peppers in Chicago, and then Dominican Sue, who did not make my list, but he's definitely an honorable mention for it with Detroit. So that NFC North's got some good defensive linemen. But Jared Allen, I like him at number 1. This is Blake Jennings signing out. B&K Sports Lounge. Probably for the next few days, going to be my top 5 linebackers. Then we're going to go DBs, and then guys, season's going to be here. So, anyways, hope everybody's having a great weekend. I've got my fantasy football coming up tonight, so everybody have a good weekend. Take care of yourselves.